When Grandpa went hunting in the mountains, he ran into a yellow weasel wearing a dragon robe. The weasel came right up and knelt before Grandpa, and it actually spoke like a human, saying, "My friend, one of my children is facing a terrible disaster. Please, you must save him." After saying this, it suddenly turned into a puff of blue smoke and vanished. At first, Grandpa didn't take its words seriously, but when he got back to his front door, there actually was a baby boy wrapped in tattered rags, surrounded by several yellow weasels of all sizes. They kept bowing down to Grandpa, as if begging him to take me in. It wasn't until Grandpa picked me up that those weasels finally scattered. From then on, every single day, yellow weasels would come to our door and bow down. Many of our neighbors saw these yellow weasels kowtowing toward our house. Why are those yellow weasels bowing here? Plus, my grandpa had suddenly gotten a grandson out of nowhere. So, rumors began to spread that I was actually the weasel's child. The villagers who were close to Grandpa came over to congratulate him, saying that getting a grandson at his age was a sign of great fortune. They said the descendants of the Yellow Immortal would bless our whole village. But right after the villagers arrived, something bizarre happened. The most respected elder in the village, Great Uncle 3, took just one look at me, turned away, and collapsed straight to the ground, completely lifeless. Great Uncle 3. From that day on, the way the villagers looked at Grandpa and me completely changed. Great Uncle 3 was highly respected in the village. Grandpa took me to burn incense for Great Uncle 3. Still in my swaddling clothes, I was smiling brightly. But not a single person dared to hold me. Left with no choice, Grandpa had to set me aside, light the incense, and bow 3 times. Great Uncle 3, you had already lived a long life and it was your time to go. This little baby doesn't have that kind of power. Please don't lay the blame on him. Hearing this, Great Uncle 3's family was furious. They immediately stepped forward to accuse Grandpa, but just as they were about to argue, the lid of Great Uncle 3's coffin suddenly burst open and flew into the air, and his skeletal hand pointed straight at me on the ground. His eyes were wide open, staring deathly at me, as the terrified villagers scrambled to run outside. They kept screaming, "The corpse has come back to life." But without saying a word, Grandpa pulled out a talisman and rushed forward. He slapped the talisman onto Great Uncle 3's forehead and bit his own finger, drawing a symbol on the head of the coffin before chanting a few spells. Immediately, Great Uncle 3 fell flat back into the coffin. Grandpa turned to look at his sons. The old man lived way too long. Bury him immediately, before something else goes wrong. Hearing this, Great Uncle 3's eldest son, Ruan Chengdu, stepped forward. "How can we do that? We already picked an auspicious date." Grandpa looked at him with cold, dark eyes. 3 days. 3 days at most. You cannot wait any longer than that." After saying this, Grandpa picked me up and walked away. Back home, Grandpa sat in the yard holding me, puffing away on his tobacco pipe. He spent the entire night cursing into the empty air. The very next morning, a corpse appeared right at our doorstep. And it was none other than Great Uncle 3's son, Ruan Chengdu. He looked as if he had been ripped apart by wild beasts. His arms and legs were barely hanging on, and his entire body was covered in countless bite marks. But strangely, despite such a brutal and horrific death, not a single person in the village heard him scream that night. While Grandpa was deep in thought, the villagers, armed with weapons, marched right toward him. "Old 7 Ruan, that little darling of yours is definitely not a good thing. Get rid of him right now." Grandpa stood at the doorway, his eyes sweeping across everyone in the crowd. "I am standing right here today, and the baby is right there on that chair. If any of you have the guts, go ahead and try to take him." Ruan Chengdu's son, Ruan Qingshan, rushed into the yard immediately, but before his hand could even touch me, he froze dead in his tracks. For up on the surrounding walls, rustling sounds began to echo. The entire roof was packed with weasels and foxes, and even snakes, all staring down at Ruan Qingshan with deathly glares. All 5 of the great immortal families, the foxes, weasels, hedgehogs, snakes, and rats, had gathered. Since that day, no one in the village dared to plot against me again. But before 3rd Great Uncle's funeral was even finished, 2 more elders in the village died. Over the course of that 1 week, a person died in the village every single day. On that particular day, the sky was covered in dark, heavy clouds, and the lightning flashed with a crimson glow. Grandpa stood in the yard, looking up at the sky, sensing that something terrible was about to happen. So, he locked all the doors and windows from the inside early on. Took out a few incense sticks, bowed in all 4 directions, and planted them in the 4 corners of the yard. Great immortals, this child's origin is no ordinary one. On this day of 7 calamities, I fear I cannot protect him by my strength alone. I beg you all to help me protect this child. Just as Grandpa finished speaking, the incense in the 4 corners of the yard suddenly went out at the exact same time. Right then, a bizarre, blood-curdling shriek came from me inside the house. Grandpa dashed into the room and saw a pair of withered, bony hands. Choking my neck with a death grip, the assailant was none other than 3rd great uncle, who had been dead for 7 days. Hearing the noise, 3rd great uncle whipped his head around. On his pale, greenish face, a pair of blood-red eyeballs stared dead at Grandpa. Grandpa let out a cold snort, and drew a yellow talisman between his fingers, waving it through the air a few times. The talisman paper instantly burst into flames. By the mysterious laws of heaven and earth, let the golden light shield us. Be gone. As Grandpa's voice fell, a burst of blue flames swept toward 3rd great uncle, blasting him straight out through the back window. Grandpa rushed over to check if I was all right. Just then, a frantic knocking came from the door. 7th uncle, something terrible has happened at 3rd great uncle's house. You must come quickly. The visitor breathlessly explained what had happened, saying that 3rd great uncle's coffin had been resting in the yard, and he was supposed to be buried tonight. But out of nowhere, he suddenly escaped from it. Grandpa quickly grabbed his gear and headed straight to 3rd great uncle's house. A crowd was gathered outside 3rd great uncle's house. Seeing my grandpa arrive, they quickly parted to make a path. The yard inside was in absolute chaos, with the carcasses of chickens and ducks scattered everywhere. At this moment, the 7 people who had died in the village all appeared in the yard at the same time. First, Grandpa pulled a stack of talismans from his bag and quickly pasted them onto the doorframe above. And then, carrying me, he strode inside and fell to his knees before those 7 people. Although Grandpa was on his knees, his voice remained firm and dignified. You all had reached the end of your natural lifespans. It is true that this child's arrival has hastened your deaths, but you cannot lay all the blame on him. I can select a blessed burial site for all of you to bring good fortune to your descendants. If this child achieves great things in the future, it will also count as a merit for you. Having said that, Grandpa kowtowed 7 times to the 7 neatly arranged corpses. The moment he raised his head, those 7 dead people suddenly came back to life. They surrounded Grandpa, and their skeletal, withered hands reached out to grab him. Just at that moment, wrapped in my swaddling clothes, I was somehow triggered by something, and suddenly burst into a strange, giggling laugh. Instantly, a faint golden light enveloped Grandpa. He calmly stood up, his gaze sweeping over the 7 of them. If you refuse to listen, and insist on causing trouble for this baby, then I will have no choice but to send you all to hell. Their faces had already turned pale and blue, and their bodies were stiff. But they seemed to understand Grandpa's words, and in the end, they didn't make a move. Right after that, Grandpa turned and walked outside. The 7 of them followed closely behind. As they passed the doorway, 7 beams of golden light suddenly burst from the talismans. As if cleansed by the light, the 7 of them collapsed straight to the ground. After this incident, everyone respected Grandpa's power even more. Even though the families of the deceased still held a grudge, they didn't dare to cause him any more trouble. After that, fresh wild game would appear in our yard every day. Wild pheasants, wild rabbits, it never stopped. Grandpa wasn't polite either. He accepted them all, and made them into soup for me to drink. Time flew by in the blink of an eye, and before I knew it, I was 7 years old. Though the village kids didn't know my true identity, they all knew I was bad luck, so I grew up with no friends at all. Except for a little black dog Grandpa bought me, whom I named Black Wind. On my way to and from school, Black Wind was always by my side, acting just like my bodyguard. If anyone tried to bully me, he would pounce on them. Protected by Black Wind, my first 7 years went quite well, until my 7th birthday. Just like any other day, I was walking home with Black Wind after school, when I suddenly heard someone call my name from behind. I turned around, but there was no one there. Then, a chilling wind swept past my face, and a cold shiver ran down my spine. Every single hair on my body stood on end, and Black Wind kept barking, circling around me. When I got home, the moment Grandpa saw me, his face turned dead serious, and he told me not to move. Since you know this child has an extraordinary origin, do not pester him, otherwise. Don't blame me for being ruthless. As soon as Grandpa finished speaking, I felt a sudden gust of wind behind my back. The moment I looked down, I saw a long-haired shadow appearing right next to my own head. At 7 years old, my entire body shuddered, and I peed myself right on the spot. As the boy's urine dripped onto the ground, it actually made a sizzling, burning sound. Then, a woman's shriek echoed from behind me, and that freezing, creepy feeling instantly vanished. Grandpa quickly rushed forward, scooped me up, and without a word, threw me into the coffin in the main hall. Old enough to remember things by then, I was terrified and started bawling hysterically. But Grandpa just gave me a fierce glare. I don't know how much time passed. I fell into a deep sleep inside the coffin. Half asleep and in a daze, I heard a woman's voice calling out, "Yang Zai, I'm your bride, tonight, we will be wed." As soon as I opened my eyes, I saw a woman with a deathly pale face hovering right above me, but I couldn't move a single inch. The woman's long, black fingernails slowly scraped across my face, inch by inch. And just then, "HMPH, you shameless creature," Grandpa roared angrily. He yanked me right out of the coffin, and then grabbed a piece of red cloth. He quickly tore it into several strips, wrapped them around my waist, and tied a tight double knot. "Xiaoyang, listen to me. You stay inside here tonight. No matter who speaks to you, or what they say, do not go with them." As soon as he said that, Grandpa stuffed me right back into the coffin. Hiding inside the coffin, I shivered uncontrollably, starving and terrified. I don't know how much time passed, but then, I heard the sound of clashing gongs and beating drums. The wedding procession appeared right at our front door, with a red bow tied to a tall horse. A short, sneaky-looking man knocked on our front door. "Old man, we've come to fetch the groom." The moment the words left his mouth, Grandpa whipped out a yellow talisman and slapped it right onto his forehead. The man who was just speaking a second ago instantly turned into a shifty-eyed rat. "Listen to me, all of you. I don't care who you are or where you came from. Don't you dare lay a finger on this boy." The bridal sedan chair swayed gently, its curtains fluttering, revealing a pair of tiny, embroidered 3-inch lotus shoes. "Oh, Grandpa, how can you say that? If he marries me, it's not like I'd ever mistreat him. I can even protect him from now on." Grandpa's face flushed with rage. He immediately grabbed a cleaver from behind the door and sprayed fresh blood onto the blade. He swung it down hard toward the sedan. Suddenly, the curtain was ripped open. The woman inside, with her seductive figure and a red bridal veil over her head, stepped down, one slow step at a time, swaying as she walked toward the coffin in the main hall. Grandpa clenched his teeth, glaring intensely at her. But he made no further move. "Yang Zai, come with me. I'll take you to see your mom and dad, inside the coffin." I heard every single word she said, but I kept Grandpa's warning firmly in mind, trying not to react. But hearing the words mom and dad, my eyes welled up with tears for some reason. The woman's voice flooded into my ears, carrying a strange magic that made me lose control of my body. I felt an overwhelming urge to answer her, but the red cloth around my waist seemed to tighten. Just as I was about to say yes, Hefeng started making noise outside. My whole body shuddered, and I instantly lost consciousness. I slept fitfully inside the coffin all night. Early the next morning, when Grandpa pulled me out of the coffin, I saw the courtyard was littered with dead rats. There were over 100 of them. The one right in the middle was pure white and long, completely different from all the other rats. But for some reason, I couldn't shake the feeling that the white rat's eyes were staring right at me. "Xiaoyang, listen to me. Your life was bought at the cost of Hefeng's." Hearing those words, I started looking around for Black Wind. Grandpa gathered the dead rats on the ground together, poured kerosene on them, and set them on fire. After they were burned, I buried Black Wind under the pear tree by the door with my own hands. Time flew by, and soon I was 14. That year, I was walking home as usual. But for some reason, the moment I stepped out of the school gates, I felt a sudden sense of dread. So I walked very fast all the way. Before I even entered the village, I heard the sound of funeral music. Coming right toward me was a funeral procession. There was nowhere for me to hide, so I could only stand by the roadside and wait for them to pass. As the coffin passed right in front of me, I clearly saw a withered old woman hanging from the bottom of the coffin. She slowly twisted her neck, turned her head to look at me, and even grinned. Terrified, I let out a loud scream and bolted home, diving straight under my blanket. Drenched in cold sweat, my mind was filled with the image of that old woman's creepy grin. Soon, I heard the sound of Grandpa opening the door. "Grandpa." I saw a ghost. The moment I said this, it instantly grabbed Grandpa's attention. He grabbed me, hauled me up, threw me straight into the yard, and turned back into the house. He brought out a talisman paper, pinched it between his fingers, and muttered a couple of incantations. The talisman burst into flames, and he slapped the burning paper right onto my forehead. After waving another talisman around me, he finally asked what I had seen. Trembling, I told him what happened on the road. Grandpa glared at me, annoyed that I was so easily scared. "A big lad like you, scared out of your wits? Your grandpa isn't dead yet. No one can touch you. It seems it's time you learned some real skills." When Grandpa went hunting in the mountains, he once encountered a yellow weasel wearing a dragon robe. The yellow weasel walked right up, fell to its knees before Grandpa, and even spoke in a human voice. "Old friend, one of my children is facing a terrible disaster. Please, you must save him." With that, it actually turned into a wisp of blue smoke and vanished. From that day on, Grandpa started passing his skills down to me. He was actually the 78th generation successor of the Tianxian sect. What he studied was orthodox Taoist magic. When I was little, people would often drive all kinds of luxury cars into our village, begging on their knees for Grandpa to help them out. And since I was a kid, I admired him from the bottom of my heart. At that time, there were only 3 days left before my 14th birthday. Thinking about how I would be able to summon wind and rain in 3 days, I was so excited I couldn't sleep. Completely forgot about that old woman. That night, as I lay in bed, half asleep, I heard a sound like chalk scratching across a blackboard. The sound kept drilling into my ears, so I pulled the blanket over my head to keep sleeping. Then, a thought struck me. Something wasn't right. How could there be a blackboard in my house? I scrambled out of bed instantly, turned on the light, and peeked through the crack in the wooden door. To my horror, I saw that old woman from earlier today again. She was staring at me right through the door. And right at that moment, the door creaked open. The old woman walked toward me, her withered hands tipped with sharp, long nails. I grabbed my pillow and threw it at her, backing away frantically, screaming for Grandpa in a panic. Just as the old woman reached the edge of my bed, a sudden flash of golden light burst out, and she let out a piercing, screeching cat cry. Grandpa appeared at the door, clutching a bronze bell in his hand. "Who do you think you are, daring to target him? Get lost now, or I'll scatter your soul to the winds." Unmoved, the old woman lunged right at Grandpa. Grandpa shook the bell in his hand a couple of times, while holding a talisman paper between the fingers of his other hand. He slapped it onto the old woman. I watched with my own eyes as she started smoking black all over, and I was so terrified that I quickly hid under my blanket. Outside, the agonizing screeches of a cat and the constant chiming of Grandpa's bronze bell echoed endlessly. I didn't know how much time had passed when Grandpa finally woke me up. He asked me to help him burn the corpse of a black cat. 3 days later, Grandpa dug out a purple Taoist robe from somewhere and put it on. He then hung an ancient portrait on the wall and sat down on the armchair with a solemn expression. "Ruan Xiaoyang, I am the 78th generation successor of the celestial sect. Today, on behalf of our founder, I accept you as an outer disciple." Once the ceremony was complete, Grandpa slipped a red string tied with a copper coin around my wrist. He warned me never to take it off, no matter what. And from that day on, I began learning Taoist arts from Grandpa. Although I was a coward, and my school grades were just average, I seemed to have a unique gift for this. I could draw the most difficult talismans after seeing them just once, and memorize the most complex spells after hearing them only once. In just 3 short years, I had already mastered everything Grandpa had spent his entire life learning. When he told me that my 17th birthday would bring a great calamity in a couple of days, I was no longer afraid. I was brimmed with confidence now, armed with the destiny coin on my left protecting me, and the Xuanyang fire on my right to slay enemies. I could easily block any low-level spirits that dared to come. I had nothing to fear. Yet, Grandpa's face was filled with worry, as though some major disaster was looming. Kid, your life must be repaid with countless living souls. Remember to do more good deeds from now on. At that moment, I was shocked to see that the 3 flames of life on Grandpa's body were flickering wildly. This was a sign that his time was running out. A terrible sense of dread suddenly washed over me. Grandpa gave a faint smile and handed me a key. This is our family's shop in the city. It will be your home from now on. As I listened to Grandpa's final instructions, tears streamed down my face. I knew that this time, Grandpa really wasn't going to make it. That night, I stayed by his bedside the entire time, not daring to leave for even a single second. Early the next morning, the flames of life on Grandpa's body mysteriously flared up again, burning even brighter than before. Grandpa asked me to go light a stick of incense and place it by the doorway. Although I didn't understand why, I still did as I was told. Just as I went inside to light the incense, a violent wind suddenly howled outside, and the once clear sky turned pitch black in an instant. And then, I witnessed a scene that I would never forget for the rest of my life. Grandpa asked me to go light a stick of incense and place it by the doorway. Although I didn't understand why, I still did as I was told. Just as I went inside to light the incense, a violent wind suddenly howled outside, and the once clear sky turned pitch black in an instant. And then, I witnessed a scene that I would never forget for the rest of my life. Even though our front door was shut tight, countless small holes suddenly broke open all over the surrounding walls. 2 massive black snakes appeared flanking the entrance, each one as thick as a bowl. Guarding on the left and right, there were also quite a few weasels, foxes, and other animals. The yard was crawling with a dense mass of tiny snakes and mice. Could a mythical flood dragon be making its way to the sea? This sudden, violent change in the weather clearly means a lightning tribulation is coming. These animals were probably here to bear the brunt of the strike for it. Then, with a deafening roar, a bolt of lightning crashed down, instantly scorching over a dozen snakes to a crisp. I stood frozen in place as hot incense ash fell onto my hand, making me flinch from the sting. My heart tightened. Oh no. Grandpa is in danger. Just as I was about to rush over, the 2 black snakes at the doorway turned and glared at me, warning me not to move a muscle. Standing in the middle of the room, I watched helplessly as the yard looked as if it had been hit by a massive power surge. The 2 massive black snakes rolled on the ground in agony under the relentless lightning strikes, which went on for about half an hour. Only then did the thunder slowly die down, as countless dead bodies of the animals rolled down from the roof. I gulped hard, suddenly overcome by a terrible feeling of dread. I bolted toward Grandpa's room, only to find it blindingly bright inside. A raging fire was devouring the bed. Panic-stricken, I frantically tried to pull the blanket off, but it was completely useless. By the time I rushed back with a bucket of water, the entire room had caught fire, the flames spreading aggressively, whipped up by the wind. The villagers heard the commotion and rushed over, dragging me out of the burning house. At 17 years old, I stood there and watched helplessly as my home was reduced to a blazing inferno. Although the villagers usually kept their distance from me out of fear, seeing such a tragedy, they felt deeply sorry for me and offered their comfort. I stayed at the village chief's house that night. First thing the next morning, I went back to what was left of my home. I could see faint wisps of smoke still rising here and there. I searched all over, but I couldn't even find Grandpa's remains. After stepping out, I fell to my knees, weeping as I bowed deeply 3 times, my forehead hitting the ground. It was only at that moment that I truly understood what Grandpa meant. My life had been bought at the cost of countless living souls. Looking at the ruined remains of my childhood home, I finally turned my back on the village and walked away, heading toward the place Grandpa had mentioned before he passed. Driven purely by sheer willpower, I walked for a whole day and night until I finally reached the city. The moment I spotted that lush, green ginkgo tree growing right through the roof of a house, I finally collapsed, unable to hold on any longer. When I opened my eyes again, a middle-aged woman was watching over me by the bed. She said, "My name is Lu Dahua. Back then, it was thanks to your grandfather that my life was saved. He already arranged everything before he passed. From now on, you can call me Godmother. I will look after you." With my godmother's help, I settled down and made a home on this street. Following Grandpa's final wishes, I took over the family business right here on this street. But business has been non-existent for so long. Now, I only have 3 yuan and 80 cents left in my pocket. If I don't sell something soon, I won't even be able to afford dinner tonight. Just as I was worrying about money, a fashionably dressed girl walked through the door. "Hello, how can I help you?" I asked, looking up at her face. She had a classic, beautifully shaped face with delicate features, but I could clearly see a dark, ominous shadow lingering on her forehead. Looking at her, I said with absolute certainty, "Has someone in your family fallen ill recently?" The girl gave me a surprised look. "How did you know? A dark shadow hangs over your forehead, and you are surrounded by a chilling aura of dark energy. The sick person in your family must be an elder, and it's a terminal illness. But the old man in your family isn't actually sick. Rather, he is possessed by evil spirits." Hearing this, the girl's expression became much more animated. "Did you investigate me?" Hearing this, I couldn't help but roll my eyes. "Lady, do I even know you? Why on earth would I investigate you? For 20,000 yuan, I will settle your family's problems." But the girl still seemed a bit wary of me, so I deliberately acted like I didn't care. "If you don't believe me, you can just go back first. Your father will also start having problems within 3 days. You can come find me then." With that, I turned around and started organizing the things on the shelves, knowing full well she wouldn't wait 3 days. Sure enough, moments later, the girl's anxious voice came from behind. "Master, I'll pay. Please, come with me right now." Sure, no problem. I turned around with a squinting smile. I grabbed a handful of yellow talismans from the drawer, stuffed them into my pocket, and followed the girl to her house. Seeing her house, I was a bit taken aback. I knew her family was wealthy, but I didn't expect them to be this filthy rich. Did I ask for too little with that 20,000 yuan? Just as we walked through the villa's main gates, a voice rang out. "Did you buy the things?" A stern-faced, middle-aged man stood up. A faint red light seemed to glow around him. "Dad, this is a master I met outside. He says he can solve our family's problems. So I brought him back." "You little punk, you dare try to scam me? Do you have a death wish?" "Believe it or not, I'll beat your brains out, kid." "You dare try to scam me? Do you have a death wish?" "Believe it or not, I'll beat your brains out." "Dad, please don't be like this. He really is capable." "Forget this, I'm not staying. This isn't a place where you can just come and go as you please. If you cure him, you get 200,000 yuan. But if you fail, I'll break one of your legs." "And what if I refuse?" "Then I'll kill you." A true man knows when to yield. "Hey, I was just joking. I'll go take a look at the old man right away." "Brother, go with him. I'll stay and calm Dad down." A thick shroud of dark energy was pouring out from the innermost room. "Hold on tight, don't let go. Don't open the door yet. This is much more troublesome than I thought." When did the old man start acting strange? It started a week ago. First it was talking in his sleep and sleepwalking. And then he started acting crazy during the day too. He even jumped from the second floor just to catch a bird. Breaking his leg, these past few days, he's just been lying there with his eyes wide open, barely clinging to life. That's why Dad had me prepare for his funeral. Did anything unusual happen before he fell ill? No. Grandpa usually only walks his birds and barely goes out. No, we must be missing the actual cause. Kid, what are you sitting here for? Uncle Lin, did you kill someone with a special identity recently? Lin Yu, step aside first. If you can't treat him, get the hell out of here. Don't waste the old man's precious time. I won't ask about classified information. Just tell me, have you ever killed anyone from the mystical sects? How many Southerners did you kill during that border mission? One of them was a Zan sorcerer? That explains it. This is revenge, but can a dead man really seek revenge? Can you really save my father? So, you also believe this isn't an illness? His life force is almost completely depleted. Lin Feng, don't move. What is that thing? HMPH. A soldier's righteous aura carries a fierce energy. It can't get near you. Ah. What on earth is this? No, wait. That little imp couldn't have generated this entire floor's deathly aura. Isn't the ghost already gone? He was just a servant imp being controlled. The real source is right on him. This doll has been sitting here this whole time. Is there something wrong with it? These aren't painted on eyes. These are a living person's eyes.